Hello again, everyone. In today's lecture, we'll continue with the second type of communication channel, which is the wired technology or the wired communication channel. Under this, we will discuss about the three commonly used cable, which is the twisted pair, the coaxial cable, and the optical fiber. Before we start discussing about a twisted pair, this is what you need to understand. Here, what I've done is I've taken two pairs of copper wire. Whenever a signal is transmitted from one computer to another computer, that means from the sender to the receiver, the signal will be generated, the signal will be transmitted over a copper wire. And so when the signal is being transmitted, there will be heat generated from the copper wire. Now this heat generated will be in the form of a signal, an electrical signal. So the electrical signal that is generated from this wire and the electrical signal that is generated from the other from the other set of wire, what will happen is they'll tend to interfere with each other. That means the heat generated from the first wire will interfere with the heat generated from the second wire. Likewise, the heat generated from the second wire will interfere with the heat generated from the first wire. So now this continues throughout the whole journey. That means from the source to the destination. What will happen is when the message reaches the destination, this message will be meaningless. I mean, whatever is actually sent from the source by the sender, that will not reach its destination. The reason being which there will be so mixed up of signal here that when it reaches the generation, it reaches destination, it'll become something else. So in order to prevent that, what we have is this two pair of copper wire. They will be twisted. Now in this portion, and what happens is this two here will interfere with each other. That means the signal from the first wire and the second wire will interfere with each other. But every time they come across this twist here, every time they come across a twist, the heat generated, that means the heat that is absorbed by the extra heat absorbed by the wire, those will tend to get cancel off. So the extra heat will be cancelled off. Likewise, the signal will be transmitted again from here till here, fine. And when it reaches here, I mean when it is being twisted, those extra signal that is being absorbed, that will be cancelled off. Likewise, in every twist, all the extra signal absorbed by the wire will be cancelled off. So this is what we will be discussing in the twisted pair of copper wire or twisted pair cable. So in here, this is how your twisted pair cable look like. This is the most commonly, the oldest and the most commonly used twisted pair, the most commonly used cable. When you have come across this, you might have seen this type of wire somewhere or the other. So in here, what we have is we have the copper wire, fine, and they will be twisted in pairs. In this case, we have a total of 4 pairs. And so this is the oldest and the most commonly used type of cable. We use here 2 pair of twisted wire. Now what happens is the more the number of twists, fine, the faster will be the speed that the data will be transmitted, and at the same time, if you twist it into small twists, you will need more wire. So the more the number of twists, the faster it becomes in transmitting, the faster transmission rate, but the costlier it becomes. Now this thick wire is used for transmitting both the analog or the digital signal. We will discuss more into about the analog or digital signal. Now the main problem but when you use this type of wire, okay, we'll come across all that. We will discuss about disadvantage first. Okay, what we'll do is I'll show you the two type of twisted pair of cable wire. In twisted pair cable, you will come across either an unshielded twisted pair. Simple one that I've shown here is the unshielded twisted pair. Second one here is a shielded twisted pair. See, outside every pair of wire there will be an outer covering. This will act as an insulator. This will prevent the signal generated by the first pair to interfere with the signal generated by the second pair, so that the signal generated by each and every pair here will not interfere with each other. What we do is we provide a sort of a shield, that means sort of a covering, so that the signal will not interfere with each other. So under your twisted pair, you have two type of cable, which is the unshielded twisted pair and the shielded twisted pair. Now let's look more into this too. What I've already mentioned, this is the oldest one that is used. Now the main problem with your twisted pair cable is that they are very much prone to electrical signal. Fine. In the earth, when you transmit, what happens is earth tends to generate electromagnetic signal. So the signal transmitted by the wire here, that is transmitted from source to this, they tend to get mixed up with all the external signal. Say for example your electromagnetic signal, and they can be easily tamped by unauthorized user. They are not very safe. So when you transmit data, they can easily be, unauthorized user can easily find out what is the message that is being transmitted. They give you very adequate performance. The transmission speed is not very fast, but it's not very slow, right? But they provide you performance at a very low cost. So that will be regarding your twisted pair of cable wire. Now, your twisted pair of cable wire, when you use it with the internet, when you actually use it in transmitting data, this is the connector. This is how you connect your twisted pair of cable wire, right? Two devices. This type of connector, there are different type of connector available, but this type of connector that we use is referred to as RJ45 connector. You might have seen in, say, your cable connection, when you see there are many things that is connected. Fine, when you have your LAN connection, if you want to connect a LAN cable to your laptop or to your computer, you use such type of wire. And this is like a example of your RJ45 connector. And there are different type of connector that you use. This is normally used for connecting the twisted pair cable to machines. Second type of cable that we'll discuss is the coaxial cable. Now in here what you have is you will not have two pairs of copper wire. There will be only one copper wire in the center. Fine, in the innermost region there will be one copper wire in the center, and now outside this copper wire we will have an insulator. This is actually to prevent the signal from this to emit out, that means to go out, and to prevent this signal that we will be transmitting here in this wire, to prevent it from going out, we have the insulator here. Then outside the insulator we have another type of shield, or another type of insulator itself, which is a metallic shield. This metallic shield here is made up of copper wire. Now the purpose of having this braided shield here, the copper wire shield, is to prevent the electromagnetic signal that is present under earth, to prevent that from interfering with the actual signal. So that means whenever it comes here, when the electromagnetic signal, that will be actually reflected back. So to prevent the absorption of the electromagnetic signal and to prevent it from interfering with the original signal that is being transmitted here, we have the metallic shield. Okay, and then we have this plastic cover to cover the metallic shield. This is how your coaxial cable will look like. Example of the application or the use of your coaxial cable is the wire that you use to connect from your dish antenna to your television set. Fine, that is the example of your coaxial cable. If you cut that wire, you will get to see this setting. Fine, inside most there will be only one sharp copper wire, and then outside all that you will have all this extra shield. Now, okay, this are better shielding when you compare it with a twisted pair because of the braided copper wire mesh. Right, it provides you better. It gives you better shield. They use only one stiff copper wire, that like what I've already mentioned, surrounded by all that. Then you have the braided mesh. This is to reduce the electromagnetic interference from the outside signal. They are more resistant to signal interference compared to that of the twisted pair, and they are widely used for metropolitan area network or for any longer distance. When you want to transmit data over a longer distance, then you can use this type of connection. Now, what you need to remember here is both a twisted pair and a coaxial cable. They are used for transmitting electrical signal or electromagnetic signal. Right? They are used for transmitting electric signal. Now, the next one that we have here is the optic fiber. Now, unlike the twisted pair and the coaxial cable, optic fiber is used for transmitting not any electrical signal, but optic fiber is used for transmitting signal in the form of light. So this is the main difference. The optic fiber will be transmitting your signal in the form of light. So that means the transmission rate here will be very fast. the data that is transmitted will be transmitted at the speed of light. Before we go through the properties of the optic fiber, let us discuss about the setup here. Now what you have here is this. Here is the actual one. Fine. You have this, which is a glass filament. This is a very thin glass, which is equal to the size of a human hair. A single strand of human hair is equal to this one. Fine. So it is very, very thin, and it is very, very what to say here is very thin, and at the same time it is very delicate. Now what you have is outside this you have an outer covering. This is called as the glass cladding. This is to protect this glass filament here from breaking down. Fine. So that it will not break down because it's a glass. So in order to prevent it from breaking down, we have a glass cladding. And then on top of that we have this primary buffer. Primary buffer is just an extra covering, okay, to prevent it from breakage. And then outside that we have the outer jacket. Now normally your optic fiber will not be transmitted, will not be used as just one single strand. They are actually arranged in bundle like what we have here. It's not just one optic fiber, fine, but it is a collection of so many optic fiber arranged together. So this is what we have. And then on top of that there will be some extra shield that will be provided here in order to prevent the glass from breaking down. Remember, we are dealing with the glass filament here. In order to prevent it from breaking down, we might provide some extra covering here. This is regarding how your optic fiber will be set up. This here are the collection of so many optic fiber. And just this one single strand will be one optic fiber. Now regarding the properties, your optic fiber, like what I've already mentioned, use an ultra thin fiber of glasses whose thickness is equal to that of the single strand of human hair. They propagate light, and like that of the other two, they will be used here for transmitting light, and the light that will be transmitted will be in only one direction. Since it is not used for transmitting electric signal anymore, so the chance of it interfering with the electromagnetic signal or electromagnetic field will not be there. And so light will not mix anymore with the electromagnetic field. It does not generate any heat at all. And unlike that of the electrical signal, this will not generate any heat. But what we need here is we need a repeater. Repeater is the device that actually amplifies your signal. And I mean it boosts up your signal. We will discuss in details about a repeater. And this particular device will be used for transmitting data over a very long distance. So because of that, the signal need to be regenerated. We need to boost up the signal. So because of that, we will be needing repeater after every 50 kilometer compared to 5 kilometer of a copper wire. Whereas in case of twisted pair and a coaxial, after every 5 kilometer, you will need to boost up the signal. And these are the safest among all the mediums, since the data here are transmitted are quite difficult to tamp. So you don't easily, any unauthorized user cannot just easily access the data here. The reason being which is because the data are transmitted at a very fast rate, and the data will be transmitted in the form of light, not signal. So it's actually a little difficult to detect that, and then it's difficult to convert that to the actual signal that is being transmitted. So that's why it is more safe compared to the other two type of cable. Now, based on this, I want you to list it down the differences between the three type of wired channel. That means your twisted pair, your coaxial, and your fiber optic. Maybe some 2-3 differences between these three type of wire connection. With this, we'll stop here for today. Thank you very much.